Okay, here we are back, and I hope all of you have found the guest section and brought up all of the pictures. And the first one, as I mentioned before the break, is the book cover, which Daz Smith apparently put together. A terrific job, Daz. Really good work.
Yeah,
Excellent.
really.
Excellent.
Really sharp.
Well, compared to the first one, which we won't mention.
Hey, I thought I did a pretty good one, but then again, I'm not a professional. Stick figures don't cut it.
No, it was okay. No, seriously. You've done so many wonderful covers. This is just a different bailiwick than you're usually doing, so I wouldn't expect you
Right, and Daz knows, I guess that's Photoshop. I have no idea how to work a Photoshop. I do cut and paste like they used to do in the old days, but no, Daz did a super job. And Dick has been an incredible help all along on this.
Yeah.
We're doing films on this.
Yeah, great. Yeah. I would say every time I go to my homepage, I see the camel lurching around in her chair.
Yeah.
Maybe. I'll give that another day and then it's coming down. I can't take it. That's our president? That's a president? See, you got to think of
not
this
yet.
as... Oh, no. She's not in. He's not in. The creeper and the camel. It's a choice between communism and the constitutional republic of the United States of America. That's the choice.
Indeed.
Forget the people. The choice is one of political
ideologies.
Ethos and ideology. It's all about that. So
Ronald Reagan once said that and he was a member of Shark Hunters until his death, he said that this country is only one generation away from collapsing.
Ronald said that?
Reagan said that.
Yeah. I interviewed him once. Spent
really?
About, I don't know, half an hour. Oh, yeah. Spent about a half an hour with him.
Yeah, great man. I'm looking right now on my desk at the Presidential Medal of Merit that he awarded me.
Wow.
And right behind my desk is the American flag that he sent me.
Wow. That's pretty neat stuff.
Yes, great man.
Pull up our gallery tonight, thanks to Norberto, who did another marvelous job putting this together. That guy works awfully hard. He's a great webmaster. All right, the book cover is number 1, and I hope all of you have seen that by now. We'll take a look at number 2, which is young, dapper Clark McClelland. Probably
photo taken about 45 years ago, I guess, because he's 85 years old now.
Yeah. Well, I knew him from 65 to 85 then.
Wow.
Okay. That's a great picture of him. He was the man who, in so many ways, made the shuttle operable and fine-tuned for the brave men and women who, in some cases, gave their lives flying that. But Clark was the man.
He was a spacecraft operator, which meant he could do everything on board that the astronauts could do it, only he did it on the ground, but they did in space.
Yep. All right, picture number 3. Is this the new James Bond movie trailer that we're going to look at?
Yeah, I couldn't help but put that up. There's a reason, but that's me in the casino at Monte Carlo. A couple of years ago, we were going to do an expedition to Antarctica, and the next photo, of course.
I talked you out of it.
Yeah, right. So did the people that beat the hell out of my associate over there, killed her dog. Photo number 4, that's me at the exclusive Monte Carlo Yacht Club. We met with the ministers of Prince Albert, and we were assured we were going to get the use of his private yacht, which was the size of a cruiser, and everything was going to be at our disposal for this expedition to Antarctica. They even chauffeured us around in a Maserati limousine. For God, I didn't know Maserati made limousines, but the hand-rubbed dashboard on that Maserati cost more than my whole Corvette. So anyhow, that all fell apart, but that's covered in the book a little more about how it got taken apart, and we're not supposed to go to Antarctica, so we just passed on that after Annette got beat up and life threatened, and she had to run out of Monaco quickly.
Right. That's a nice picture, too. The lighting is perfect on it. Who took that picture? Annette?
Annette did, yeah. Mm-hmm. She's a professional photojournalist.
I would say. Look at the lighting on the walkway and how it fits in perfectly with the background lighting. Look at that.
Yeah, but the best part of the picture, of course, I'm in it.
Well, that goes without saying. Now, number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
All right. Here, this is important because for all of you out there who haven't availed yourselves of the chance to walk history as it really happened, here are 2 books, 2 giant books, really, side by side, that open doors that you'll otherwise never be able to walk through. Hitler in Argentina, Harry's magnificent book. Wow. Just it's such an incredible book. A bestseller in the best sense of the word. And now the new one from Clark, which opens doors into NASA, the space program, the Apollo program, that people would otherwise never get a chance to see.
Absolutely.
2 amazing books. All right. So Clark's book, you're actually, and I have a link in guests. They can click on it to order the book. We're pre-selling right now. It'll be available.
Actually, I guess you can call it pre-selling, but the book has already been approved. My proofing copy is going to be here tomorrow. Then we're going to place an order for a ton of these things, and because it's done now. It's done now. The ebook is already up and available.
Good.
And so the printed books, they're running kind of slow because this scamdemic has got them short-staffed, I guess. We normally get 4 to 6 day turnaround, and now we're looking at 2, 3, 4 weeks. It's just pathetic. But
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's what the New World Order has in mind to break down our economy.
Of course. They're going to do it. It's already done, really. It's a done deal. It's done. The book with Hitler and Eva Braun, there's the mansion. It was a Bavarian estate house built there in Patagonia. It was a 2,700 acre estate, and when it was built in the late 30s, there was nobody anywhere around that place. It was just a very few people, maybe a couple thousand in the whole area. Just very sparsely
built
populated.
in the last days of the war, and it was built allegedly for Mercedes officials to use for R&R, but in reality it was built for Hitler and Eva Braun. Right. Nobody lived in there before, and to the best of our knowledge, nobody has since they moved out in 55.
I thought that it was begun in the late 30s because they wanted to have something ready and just in case. But at any rate, this is not the only house on the property. Was a whole little teeny tiny micro village there with half a dozen homes behind that and off to the left, I guess, where they had carpenters, they had cooks, they had gardeners, they had, and above all, of course, they had SS security.
Right.
And
they also had a farm next door, too, that they ran.
Farm.
That was their farm, sure.
Yeah. It was
we're going to be there.
Astounding thing. Yeah, you can go. You can actually go next February, March with Harry. So make those plans. Don't delay. When we get through this next fall and winter horror that's coming, you'll be ready to take a trip. Believe it.
You betcha.
All right, very good. Number
6.
5. Number 5 is that one, and we'll go to number 6 next. If my screen, what is wrong with my there? Okay, all right.
Get a hammer.
We're going. Yeah, right. All right. This is an image from the book. All right, and the story that goes with it is really heartbreaking. It's a terrible story, and that is the Challenger. After it came apart on liftoff, and the text speaks for itself. There's the crew capsule, And Clark described to me how he could hear them all the way down talking and yelling. And
right. They had microphones, just like they have on commercial airliners. They have cockpit microphones, and he could hear the women were screaming and crying. There were a couple of guys cursing. They heard somebody praying, and all the way down to impact with the ocean. Nobody could do anything. So, incidentally, let me shift gears for a second. The numbers I have on the prints, 1-1 in this case, the first digit is the chapter of the book. You'll see this photo. So this is in chapter 1.
Very good.
But yeah, he indicates that he was watching it. Well, that's his job. He was watching it lift off, and he said the engines didn't sound right. And he looked at another engineer, and he said, the engines don't sound right to me. What about you? And the guy said, no, they don't sound right at all. 70-something seconds later, it all came apart.
They shouldn't have launched. The temperature was wrong. The weather was not good. They could have waited.
I'm not so sure that was the whole cause.
No, of course.
He goes into it in the book. Yeah. It was meant to blow up. Sabotage.
There was sabotage, and that's not the only case of sabotage involving our astronauts and our space program. Okay, let's go to the next picture, which shows that's the group.
The Challenger crew. Yeah, and they were all friends with Clark, and especially Judy Resnick, who is on the far right side, the girl with the black hair in the back row. And what could he do? She was a good friend of his. I wonder, if they were better friends, but they were very close. I believe
that was the case.
Yeah, I think so too. And I can't say they're blameless. She's a gorgeous woman, but here he has to sit and watch helplessly as this capsule.
Well, remember, he worked with all these people so closely, familiarizing them, training them, making sure the systems all worked. And it just
nothing he could do
mentor.
but watch them plunge to their death. Yeah. Nobody could help them, and he knew what was going to happen. It just got to be incredible pain.
Well, he cried once when he told me about this. And,
I can imagine.
Of course. Okay, let's go to Chapter 1, Photo 3, which we're bringing you as just a prelude to the book, which is about to be shipped. We're getting close.
He covers this in the book also. He got to be friends with a guy named Dr. J. Manson Valentine, who did tremendous amount of research in the Bahamas. Manson Valentine believed that is where you would find Atlantis. And this is the Bimini Wall or Bimini Road off the west coast of North Bimini. And I can speak to this from experience. I was there. I dived that. It starts out only about 15, 20 feet deep. And then it goes, as it goes toward the west and the bottom drops off, it still keeps going. Of course, I didn't have tanks. I was snorkeling, and, when bottom drops off, you ain't going too deep with a snork. But it's there. You can look at it. You can see it. God doesn't draw straight lines. That did not come from nature. That was put there by people. Who? I don't know. But when I was in school millions of years ago, I was in an art history class, and I was really fascinated by the Mayans because they seemed to be an advanced European culture that just suddenly popped up on the Yucatan Peninsula, and everything in that whole area there was part of whoever put this together. And so that's, the Bimini Road.
Yeah, I remember reading about that when I was in college. And it makes a lot of sense. And whether it was Atlantis or not, it was a civilization. And then we find off Cuba, that other sunken, which they will not spend any time and tell us about much. They control the photos. There was a ship with a deep dive apparatus on there, and they were looking at the bottom. I think they were doing mapping for possible hydrocarbon exploration, oil.
Okay. Okay.
And they found buildings and all sorts of things.
Yeah,
well
and
underwater.
Manson Valentine also found a pyramid at 800 feet down off the west coast of Andros.
Right.
But who's going to go look for it? You got to have some money. You can't just go on a whim. You got to have some money, and who's going to spend the money? People aren't going to spend the money if they're not going to see a return on it. So,
right.
Too bad I was born good looking instead of rich.
You got. Look at that. You got to look at that Bimini Road. That always just fascinated me. Yeah, I'm not sure it was Atlantis, but it doesn't matter. It was another underground
civilization, right?
Of course.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when Juan Ponce de Leon came over here looking for the Fountain of Youth, he was not just stumbling around looking for some place. He was looking for South Bimini. That's where he believed the Fountain of Youth would exist. Now, whether that was true or not, who knows? Who knows why he thought that? But that's what he was looking for. And now we see on North Bimini the Bimini Wall, or Bimini Road, whichever it is. I didn't dig down to see how far down those stone blocks went.
Well, I'm sure
to see if it was a wall or a road.
They're substantial. All right, next image, number 1-4. Now, this is a very famous photo. It demonstrates without question that Richard Nixon and Jackie Gleason were very good friends. They're on the golf course there, obviously, playing and having fun. And this is tied in with the story of President Nixon showing up at Jackie's. Nixon got loose one night. He was down in Florida, drove to Jackie's house by himself. Tell us the rest.
Yeah, that's right. Without the security guards or anything. And because Jackie Gleason was very, very deep into UFO studies, and so and he and Nixon were buddies, and so Nixon said, "Hop into the car," and Gleason says, "Where's all your security?" And he says, "Too much security causes too much attention," and he said, "Let's go before they find out I'm missing." So he took Gleason down to Homestead Air Force Base, which doesn't exist anymore thanks to Hurricane Andrew, and he showed Gleason the bodies of space creatures, whatever you want to call them, people who didn't come from here.
Right. And Jackie was never the same after that, his wife said. Changed him.
Yeah, because he finally got some proof.
Scared him.
And we all know about Roswell. I had no idea there were other crashes. I had no idea that Homestead had some bodies. I had no idea that there were bodies of these space creatures in many different places.
Yeah.
But the book will tell you.
Area 51, Homestead. Certainly, I've heard stories about, what's that base? It's down south somewhere. There's some, New Mexico, someplace has one.
Right. There was a saucer, and it's described in a book. A saucer went edgewise into the dirt on a bank of an arroyo and crashed. And when they got there were, I think they said, 3 dead guys and one who was injured.
Mm-hmm.
So more than just Roswell.
No, a lot more. So it's such a big story, and the government, the controllers don't feel we have any right to know the truth.
Oh, we're too dumb.
Too dumb.
We're too dumb.
If we are dumb, it's their fault. Believe that. That's what they did. They engineered it. All right, Chapter 3, Image 1. What do we got here? Okay,
3 Image 1 and 3 Image 2. These are called dropas. I don't know what the hell dropa means, but these were stone tablets found in ancient China. They're like 3,000 years old.
Right.
And what Clark puts them in the book is to show that they had drawings or whatever on there that appeared to be things that people 3,000-4,000 years ago never should have known about. Stuff that came from, I don't know, Aldebaran or something, but...
Well, big head, same thing, thin arms. Yeah, it's kind of a crude drawing, but the intent is obvious.
Mm-hmm. 4 fingers, both bulbous tips on the fingers.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all explained in that chapter.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm sniffling.
Stones.
We've just had oak pollen bloom, and everything around here is covered in a yellow film.
That's all right. All right, 4-1, image 12. This is a very famous picture. There's a big story here. Go ahead.
And, one of the guys, Thomas Jefferson Dubois, or whatever, is one of the guys in this film. And this wreckage of a weather balloon, he said, was supposed to be passed off as what people were seeing when they were really seeing flying saucers. And Clark interviewed this guy, was in his house. And that whole interview is in chapter 4.
Yeah, Du Bois. I think he was a general or something. I can't remember.
Yeah,
Jesse
I think
Marcel
it was 1 star.
Jesse Marcel was the man who was the chief of base security, and he was the first one with this wreckage in the office. He looked so forlorn, having to lie. He knew.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's part of the job when you're an officer. I guess you have to lie when it's necessary. I could never handle that.
Right. All right. We got so many pictures here. I'm going to go ahead through the break with Clark. Please do patronize our sponsors. They work. All of those sponsors' products work. They're wonderful. Okay.
If you need me to stay longer, I can stay longer.
I got the third hour to do here with a different topic. But here's next picture is chapter 7, image 2. Now these are just not all of them, but there are many of the pictures in the book that are of specific interest. This one shows the cargo bay open of the shuttle. And in the bottom of the bay are an astronaut on the left and another guy a little bit taller.
Yeah, there's astronauts on the left and the right. But the guy in the middle is 9 feet tall. And this is an artist drawing, of course, but everybody in NASA saw this because they had all the monitors going and showing what's going on in the cargo bay, and then all of a sudden, bang, this 9 foot tall guy pops up. Everybody's watching it. I think it explains it in the chapter, but I think Clark said 3 or 4 seconds before somebody in the control room of NASA flipped the switch. Yeah, but they saw it. This is not just some one guy's imagination. This is fact. People saw it, and along with that blended wing craft behind it.
We've got these are just teasers. The details are in the book. So we're just letting you know. There's a great picture of Gordy Cooper, chapter 9, image 1.
He was pretty miffed at NASA because he wanted to be the first guy on the moon, and he was pretty well slated to be the first guy on the moon until NASA found out that he was racing sports cars at Daytona. And, of course, he's a jet pilot, a fighter pilot. What do you expect? These guys were all gunslingers, and but NASA said they didn't think they wanted to spend millions of dollars training a guy who might get wiped out in a car crash. So Clark goes into that in this chapter 2. He voluntarily retired early.
Yeah, I had Gordy on the program here for 2 hours.
Oh, I'll be darned.
Learned a lot. Oh, he shared a lot. He knew all about UFOs.
Yeah, they're not supposed to talk about it, though. They all knew about it, but they're all supposed to be quiet.
He talked about it.
Yeah.
It's in the archives for all of you who might like to subscribe. You can go back 27 years of programs. It's one of the most remarkable libraries of its type, I think, ever. And it's all there. Wonderful people, extraordinary topics, as we turned the corner and became the toy of the puppet masters. Okay. 11-11. That's
11-1.
Sorry, 11-1.
Right. He is, I forgot his name. He's an Air Force captain, fighter pilot, and you look to 11-2. Say again?
Mantell. That's
right,
Paul
Mantell. He was one of the 4 Mustang pilots chasing after a UFO, and it kept going higher and higher and higher, but it was peacetime, and these planes were not outfitted for combat. That means they had no oxygen on board, and they were told to break off and come back, and either Mantell disregarded or something was wrong with his comms, and he kept going up and up and up, and he got to 30-something thousand feet, and 30-something thousand feet without oxygen, your own lights go out, and his plane just nosed over and came straight down into the ground, full speed. Mantell was still strapped in the seat. Cockpit wasn't popped open, so he apparently passed out and went straight down. They never did find out what it was they were chasing.
No. Okay. Chapter 12, Image 1. Very interesting. These are designations on the moon. Very special designations. Tell us. Where
you're not supposed to have moon landings. Why? Because according to Clark in the book, these are areas where they can mine helium-3. I didn't even know there was helium-1 or 2. I knew there was just plain helium. Yeah. But helium-3 has something to do with nuclear fission. I guess it goes into the...
It's an energy source. It's worth mining and bringing back here. It's a big story.
That's what Clark goes into, that these areas are rich in helium-3, and so nobody's supposed to land there. And, of course, you've read his chapters, too, and you know he says that, I forget which one, but one of the astronauts said that he saw crawler tracks on the surface of the moon in an area where none of our rockets had landed.
Right.
So whose crawler track was it?
Yeah.
Was it us?
Well, it may have been our parallel space program that existed and exists right now. We've been all over the solar system. That's my belief. We have the whole Apollo space shuttle program was essentially to keep big corporate coffers full of money and to misdirect the people. We had different technology that stems back from German technology in the war. And if you've listened to any of the programs that we've done look on the right side down below. Look for Bill Tompkins. If you find William Tompkins down there, you'll find a treasury of programs. Bill told us a lot about the deep space program that we have. And I've got photos of some of those craft in orbit up there.
Yeah, there's a lot we're not being told.
Oh, most. Most we're not being told about.
Amen.
Okay, after the moon, we're going to get to, this is the big story, one of them in the book.
Guess.
This is the Kecksburg crash. This is the Die Glocke. This is the bell.
It would appear to be.
This picture, number 13, I found... I certainly wasn't the first, but I was one of the few, and I found this, and I brought this up, and I showed it to Clark during one of the programs we did, and he said that is absolutely legitimate. That is what they did. That's
right.
The truck,
he was one of 2 NASA guys sent out there when the Kecksburg egg came down, and he was one of the 2 NASA guys that was there. And then they loaded in on a truck and took it to that, as he puts it, that big warehouse where the Ark of the Covenant that Indiana Jones found is hidden away.
Oh, there's so many things hidden away. There are warehouses full of things.
Yeah. Right, and we're led to believe, I just assumed that this warehouse, I knew it does exist. I thought it was a warehouse somewhere around Washington, D.C. No, it's 4, 5, 6 levels down under Wright-Pat Air Force Base. Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is massive.
When you look at the top ground pictures, it doesn't look so massive, but it's all underground. Like China Lake was. We lost China Lake. China Lake was apparently destroyed in that earthquake, which was completely bizarre. I suspect it was there's something else going on there. It's not a naturally occurring earthquake.
No, you don't think our government lies, do you? Oh, my goodness.
Right. Well, this picture, somebody smuggled this picture out, who knows when, but that's a real color picture of the recovery of the Kecksburg crash craft. That's it.
Yep.
Now, I've had Norberto make 3 resolutions of it. We've got a midway enlargement of it so you can see it a little bit better, and then I had him do an extreme enlargement so you can see even more. Now, there are things on that object that if I had more time, I would have had him do negative, they call it negative reversals on to so you can see different things with a grayscale tone and all that. But that is that's the craft. That's it.
Yeah.
Clark went up to it and then knocked on it to see if anybody would answer, and there was no response.
He also took out his pocket knife and tried to scrape some shavings off into an envelope so he could have them analyzed. And an MP came up and started giving him some shit, and then he showed him his NASA credentials, but he said his pocket knife wasn't making a scratch or anything. Mm-hmm. Then you look at 13.2, that's an artist's concept of what it looked like when it came down. And it had all sorts of weird writing on it, apparently. Mm-hmm. And then I put up the next one, which is 13.3, which is an artist's concept of the so-called Nazi bell, Die Glocke. And you notice how the shape is pretty doggone similar.
Oh, yeah. It looks like an earlier prototype, an earlier version of it.
Right. And like I say, it's an artist's concept there, but he had to have some kind of instructions on what it looked like so he could draw it.
Right. Fascinating. If you go back, if the sun, that's why I think if this, the Acorn craft, the Bell, if it were given a enhanced treatment with different photographic filters and so forth, you might be able to see some of the writing on the side. I can clearly see what looks like an upside down V off to the left of center out of the glare of the sun. And if you look to the right, there are other, they look like hieroglyphs. That's what they look like. You can see them there. It's right below that center belt line, and then it gets larger. And you can see there is some kind of symbolism there that had been put into the metal.
But nothing that anybody could recognize.
No, it's not the golden arches of McDonald's, so forget that.
Oh, well, they'll be there eventually, though.
Probably so. Okay, 15.1.
Right, I forget which space shot this was, but...
I think it's a recreation, pretty obviously, of what...
Oh, yeah, it's an artist's drawing, but again, the artist had to have somebody telling him what to draw. And it's outlined in the book. I forget which mission this was, but he got a call from Earth. By the way, you got 4 bogies around you, and there were 4 spacecraft hanging with our shuttle. And as you'll see in the book, almost every single moonshot or space shot we had 1 to 5 UFOs hanging around it, paralleling it, and sometimes spiraling around it, all at 17,000 miles an hour.
Yep. Okay. Next,
number 23, that's what's left of the area where the bell had been used, Die Glocke. I think it's called the hangar or something like that. The nickname is the Mousetrap. And it's in Poland. Everybody says, oh, what's it doing in Poland? Well, no, that was Germany until after the war. Then it became Poland. I guess nothing's going on there. Our member, Igor Witkovsky, is the real expert on that, and I spent a day with him in Warsaw a couple of years ago. Very nice guy, but other than yes, no, I'm not sure, yes, no, he never really went into a lot of detail.
Well, theoretically, and there are pictures showing Die Glocke cabled and hanging in the center of this concrete structure. And the idea is that when they lit it up, turned it on, it would go up and down and all around, and they wanted to keep it under control, so they cabled it to the sides of this circular enclosure.
Mm-hmm. Right. Next guy.
I mean, otherwise, what the hell would they build something like that for? It makes no sense. None.
Yeah, roller rink for midgets.
Silly.
Okay. Hey, it's almost 11 o'clock at night here. My sense of humor is a little warped right now. Too much
You're
coke.
doing well. It's you need some Entenmann's. 16.
Yeah, right.
2, chapter 16,
16-2.
image 2. That's
Who's
a
this
rare
guy?
picture. Yeah. There's about
Very
2
rare.
pictures of him. That's
Right.
it.
He was the third most powerful man in the Reich. General Hans Kammler, doctor of engineering. He was in charge of all the secret projects in Germany, the rockets, the jet fighters, the rocket fighters, the Type 21 U-boats, the atomic bombs, everything. And his headquarters was at the Skoda plant. And when Germany surrendered, he walked out into the woods and shot himself so they couldn't torture him and tell secrets. Or his SS Guard group took him out and shot him. Or his SS Guard group took him out and shot him and shot their sergeant. Poor sergeant, they probably didn't like him. Or this is the guy that Clark met in the office of Dr. Debus in the 1950s. Hans Kammler was another one of them guys who really didn't commit suicide. Surprise, surprise. So many people killed themselves who really popped up later working for us.
Mm-hmm.
And making a good buck at it. Somewhere around here in these files, I'm going to have to sort this place out, but we've got a listing of all the scientists that came over here, what their specialties were, what their address was in the U.S., what American scientific company they were working for, how much money they were getting paid. Hundreds, thousands of these guys. And we got the file. I don't know where it is. We've got a 1943 copy of Mein Kampf that was signed by Adolf Hitler. I'd like to find it and sell it. I can't even find that damn thing.
Wow.
If I look close enough, I might be able to find the body of Jimmy Hoffa in here somewhere.
All right. Very good. All right, let's look at the next picture. We have a, looks like a returning capsule.
It's a nose cone coming back.
And
this one has 5 UFOs around it.
4.
I forget which one it is, but it's listed in the book. And in the book, it also says that you never could use the term UFO. There was IFA, but no UFO. IFA means in-flight anomaly, but never UFO.
Oh, the games they play with our tax dollars.
That's something else Clark keeps saying, too, that they just keep wasting our tax money. 18.1 and 18.2, not really important. There are caves down in Yucatan, and that's all explained in the book. The next one is the destroyer that allegedly disappeared during the Philadelphia experiment.
That's the Eldridge.
Right, USS Eldridge. 20-1 is not quite so important. We're zipping through these because we're a little time constrained. 20-2 is just a giant weather balloon, which is supposed to be what you really saw instead of a UFO. 20-3, it's kind of sad because maybe this guy came back, maybe not. In the book, Clark mentions that quite a few chimpanzees were sent up. Mm-hmm. Not all of them came back alive. And this guy's on his way up. So we don't know whether he made it or not.
Mm-hmm.
20-4, these are what's called the A-boys.
I think he did come back, that one. He went into politics.
Okay. Yeah, his name was Ham.
He went into politics. I think he did very well. Anyhow.
Okay.
All right.
20-4, these are the A-boys, which is the crew of the Enola Gay that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima. Which is pronounced Hiroshima, not like the lamestream media likes to call it Hiroshima. I asked our member, Yoya Kawamura, who was a spy, and fed us a lot of great stuff. He lived in Tokyo, and I asked him, what is it, Hiroshima or Hiroshima? He's laughing, I never heard of Hiroshima. That's just the lamestream liberals.
Yeah.
They like to change everything. We no longer have problems now, you notice. We have issues.
Oh,
they're changing
yes.
the meanings, yeah.
Yes.
Anyhow, 20-5.
This is quite a picture.
Yeah,
this
these are German scientists.
That's the brain trust.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole NASA was the German rocketry program brought over here. And let's 21-1, that's an Egyptian museum showing stuff 3,000 years old with pictures of like spacemen on it. 22-1, I forget the fellow's name, but he's autistic, but he's allegedly the world's greatest computer hacker, and he was getting into NASA hackers. 23-1, again, I forget his name, but it's in the book. This is the guy that...
That's Gary McKinnon. Wait a minute.
Yeah, Gary McKinnon was the other guy, that's right. He was the hacker.
At 22-1, he actually hacked in to the Pentagon's computer system with a dial-up telephone from the UK.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, Gary McKinnon.
And he got in with a regular telephone. Yeah, and when he was walking around in there in a virtual sense through the computer looking for UFO proof, he saw there were other hackers in there walking around, and I'm using the term in a virtual sense. Seriously.
Right.
And they would acknowledge each other, and they scared the hell out of him. For 10 years they tried to have him extradited back to the U.S., where he would have been killed in prison, no question. He saw too much. I talked to Gary, and he saw more than he's I believe released. He didn't want to die.
Well, at least he's staying alive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I say, the next guy there, 23-1, is it? He's the founder of the Vril Society, the Vril Gesellschaft. Again, the name escapes me, but he's
strange-looking guy. Weird scars around his mouth, too. On his chin.
Yeah, I see your point.
Maria Orsic probably punched him. Okay.
I don't know, but maybe he looked at the next guy, number 37, and that scared the hell out of him. This is the guy, I think we recognize the picture, number 37. This is the guy that Clark calls the man they call the president. And he calls him a traitor. 3 times he calls him a traitor.
He's a communist.
Well, there's no arguments there. But to come out in print and accuse this guy of being a traitor, I'm surprised Clark is still breathing.
Well, Clark has had a tough life later on, as we all know. There's a lot going on. Clark is a mega patriot like Harry is, and like many of you listening are. And that 8 years with that guy, I don't know how we survived it. I'm not sure we did. It was just setting us up for what we're in now. Trump, I believe,
we were supposed to have Hillary right after him. It just didn't work out for them.
Well, I think that was done. Nothing is left to chance. Nothing. Trump was put in there to do what he's done. And that's to continue to polarize the country. And it is as polarized as it can be now. And I think that was the main thing. All right, number 26-1.
26-1. I forgot her name, but she was working for NASA, and she wandered into she was a photojournalist, I think. It's all explained in the book. She wandered into one of the NASA photo labs, and there was a guy in there airbrushing the photos, and he was airbrushing out the UFOs. And also their shadows that they cast on the ground or the lunar surface below. She says, what are you doing that for? Well, that's standing orders. There's no such thing as a UFO to NASA. And this guy and she tells all about it in the book, how he was airbrushing out the UFOs.
One of those guys went public with the Disclosure Project at the National Press Club in Washington, I believe, and told his story about that. Yeah. See, this whole cover-up is so infantile and beyond its usefulness now. Why don't they just give it up? But they won't. They're going to keep playing their games.
No.
Okay, 27-1. Famous picture of Nikola Tesla there.
Nikola Tesla, a brilliant man, and according to what Clark says in his book, Edison screwed him out of a lot of patents, and Tesla died flat broke.
Correct.
Which happens. I hope they say those things about me when I'm dead, that I was great at what I did, because I'm already set up to die flat broke.
Yeah, you're not alone, friend. Okay, 27-2.
Right, this is an artist's concept of a wormhole, and in Chapter 27 we go into that in great depth. And then 27-3 also shows some of what's going on down in Antarctica. New Swabia, you see there in the red, that's Neues Schwabenland. That's the area that Germany was claiming in the 1938-1939 expeditions down there. And this is where Annette and I wanted to go, not necessarily Neues Schwabenland, but in areas where we thought there would be Third Reich evidence, and that's when everything got dumped. We lost everything there, and she got beat to hell. And she just had an expose about the royal family of Monaco, which we ran on our Hotmail about a week ago. Remember when we did advertise anything you want? And we put that ad up for her. She's not living there anymore, of course. She's living elsewhere in Europe.
Right.
The best we can say.
Right.
27-4. That'd be too complicated to go into in the short time we have left. And I'm trying to get down to, we'll skip over them other things. Let's go to 31-1. We know these poor guys. Gus Grissom on the far right, or left, and the other two, I forget their names, but they're the ones in the Apollo capsule. Remember when it had that fire and all three died in the capsule?
That's the word is, I'll use it. The word is murder. They were killed.
Okay. Yeah, right. And first off, to set people straight on chemical reactions, is referred to as an oxygen fire. Let me tell you, as the grandson of a world-famous chemist, oxygen does not burn. Things cannot burn without oxygen, and if you've got something that burns and you've got 100% oxygen atmosphere, it's going to go off like a flash cube. But the oxygen only helps the burning. It doesn't burn. Anyhow, moving right along, they found that there... Say again?
31.
Okay. No, on 31-1, there were frayed wires found in the capsule after they took the people out. Clark had checked it the day before, and he talked to another engineer who had checked it the day before, and they both said no frayed wires. But then when the astronauts got in it, there was a frayed wire, and that, boom, everything was gone. Okay, 31-2. These are the people that died in Colombia when it came down and burned up on re-entry. And the reason, in Clark's mind, look at the astronaut on the far right. Look at the flag on his shoulder. And 31-3
that's the Star of David. Close-up.
Yeah.
For those of you who can't see.
And 31-3 shows a good shot of him by himself. He was an Israeli fighter pilot, but also he was supposed to activate a very sophisticated telescope to spy on the Middle East Muslim countries, enemies of Israel. And so Clark believes that's why Colombia was taken down.
Wow.
Hell of a note.
Okay. Yeah, it is. All right. 32-1 is an artist's drawing of a type of German flying disc.
Right. And then
there were a number of types, eight of them, I believe, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then
32-2, That
Is
doesn't
it
look
real?
like an artist concept to me. I mean,
Or
there's
is it
people there.
Photoshop? There's people there. There's trucks, service trucks there.
Yeah, Photoshop back in 1945.
Right. Look at the look at the landing gear.
Right.
See how it's laid out. Fascinating.
Heavy guns up topside.
Yeah. And the idea that this would stay out of combat, lest P-38s or P-51s or whatever would accidentally get a lucky shot in and bring one down, was a reason that they were not commonly used. They may have been used, but we don't know how much truth to put in the story, so I don't know if it were ever used or not. But there you go.
The bottom line on the book is there are many facets of unknown stuff that he touches on. UFOs, secret weapons from the Third Reich, sabotage of our equipment, and he goes into who did it, who did the sabotage. Mm-hmm. And, of course, like I say, he has no good words for the man they call the president, and he calls him a traitor. So this book covers a whole lot of areas that you'll never find anywhere else. And when you get done reading the book, you're going to wonder, how is Clark even still alive? Because, you know, the people who just saw the wrong things with Bill Clinton wound up committing suicide. And this guy blew the whistle on a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Clark, he may have been alive, but he suffered greatly.
I know. I went to see him some months ago, just before this corona baloney, and he's just laying there in bed. Can't go anywhere because he's only got one leg. He can go if he wants, but he's wearing diapers. He can't make it to the bathroom. They change his diapers all the time. He's at least got a window. The other guy in the room is looking at the door. And there's hundreds and hundreds of rooms in this place. It's a warehouse for people waiting to die. And all he does is lay there all day in a lot of pain, watch TV.
This
Doesn't
is
have
not
a computer.
where he wanted to be. What he told me, we had different plans entirely. But we're not going to go there now. At any rate, Clark, if you're listening, I hope you're holding on with the knowledge that you have contributed greatly on many fronts to open doors for people who have a God-given right to know the truth. So, well done. Well done. Harry, go get some rest. Thank you. That was a lot of work. I don't know how you did it, but I know you did do it, and I know you've done it as well as it could be done, and I really look forward to seeing the book. So people can go ahead and click and order it now, right? You're taking orders?
Yep, you betcha.
Okay.
But please don't call here tonight. Wait till I get some sleep. Call tomorrow or send an email.
Very good. All right. Thank you. Wonderful pictures, great work, as always. I've seen these pictures before, but to see them all now and finally in a book form, this is really a treat. Great job. Congratulations. Go to sleep. Get some rest.
Thanks a lot, Jeff. You have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Righto.
Harry Cooper. There he goes.